Here we are.
What's that smell?
Am I okay? Okay, all right, Kat. There's a little bit of a hitch there, but it does smell like the weekend.
It smells like the weekend, which is a beautiful smell.
Yeah,
It's a lovely smell. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. It's the 28th day of September, 2018. Wake Up Wenatchee Valley is on the air live here from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee. Dan Coots, your host. Steve Hare, news guy. Kat in control, and the whole energy of the building has been raised up because Bonnie Orr is in the house.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Our little ray of sunshine.
Oh, we love Bonnie. We love Bonnie. Got a lot to talk about. Huge event this weekend. In fact, it's been going on for a couple of days now, the WSU Master Gardener Conference. The big one is right here at the Wenatchee Convention Center downtown. Bonnie is an integral part of that. We'll talk about the conference. We'll talk about putting your garden to bed. We'll talk about the year that was in gardening with Bonnie Orr.
And I know that Bonnie always uses my yard as the before shot.
Yeah.
You know, and then hers is the after.
The what not to do.
Yeah, what not to do.
What not to do. So great show for you. We're really excited about it. A lot of sports to get to. Eric stayed up till the wee small hours of the morning putting together a sports report.
A tome.
Yeah, it is. It's a tome. I think it's Dante's Inferno.
I think so.
I'm going to read the whole darn thing when we get to sports. The obscure holiday today in history, birthdays. Everybody's entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. Steve has the news. We got a lot to do. Let's get it. You ready to go?
I'm ready to hit the cameras.
Wow. Look at that. Normally we start with the cross camera, but we're going to do this one, and I don't even know where that is. I'm sorry?
It's Rude Canyon.
Oh, it's Rude Canyon. Wow. Great shot. Look at that. Sunrise
That's
here.
up on Badger?
Rude Canyon is up Highway 97, Highway 2 through Rondo and that area.
Gotcha.
It's between Rondo and the BB Bridge.
Beautiful.
Is where Rude Canyon is. That's a phenomenal. Good job, Kat. That's what you call flying by the seat of your pants and ad-libbing your way through our Sky-Fi cameras. That's incredible. We're about, let's see, sunrise in the Wenatchee Valley was 6:56, so we're about 6.5 minutes into the day on this Friday, and a good-looking one. You're going to like the weather forecast. Camera 2. Now we go to the cross camera.
Check it out.
Overlooking the Wenatchee Valley proper. Gorgeous area there. Leaves not quite turning at the rate that we normally have this time of the year. There's a few, but not as much.
I noticed if you drive up the Tumwater Canyon,
Yeah.
you can definitely see the turning of the colors. But there's a few places here in the town where you can see it.
We're getting there. October is coming up. It's one of my favorite months. I can't believe September is almost gone. Can you believe that? Camera 3, downtown Wenatchee. That's from the top of the Cascading, looking down on South Wenatchee Avenue. Getting around town in the overnight hours has been rather adventurous for the last month or so, hasn't it?
It's an obstacle course.
Yeah.
I drive in from the south end of town, there over the Senator Seller Bridge, and come up Mission, and it's an obstacle course. And folks, you really got to slow down those evening hours when they're doing the paving project.
But they're on schedule, and it looks good. And it's going to be nice to have Mission paved all the way from the bridge all the way out to Old Station. That's a big project.
They had all those side streets cut off, so I didn't know which alley to take to get to work this morning. So.
But you made it.
I made it.
That's the key. Camera 3, is that right? 4. This is our 4th camera. We're going up to, I believe that is the Bear Mountain camera. That's Bear Mountain. It is a little breezy up there, and they are going to get a little wind in places on Saturday, and especially out in the Columbia Basin. They're going to have some gusts up there near 30 miles an hour. So if you're traveling I-90, or maybe you're heading over to Pullman to watch the Cougars play the Utah Utes tomorrow, you can have some gusty conditions, and you could see some blowing dust on the highways on I-90 and Highway 26 on the way out to the far eastern part of our wonderful, beautiful state we like to call home.
Tumbleweeds.
4 minutes after the hour.
Counted a few of those on I-90.
Oh yeah, geez. Let's take a look at your forecast from the National Weather Service. It's another beautiful day. We had 80 yesterday, Steve. Normally it would be 72, so it was a very mild, pleasant day yesterday. Overnight low last night was 50, normal 48, so it was a mild day all the way around. Quite a bit of sunshine today, just a little bit of a breeze, west wind about 6 to 9 miles an hour. Filtered sunshine, 77 our high today.
Perfect fall weather.
Perfect fall weather. A weak cold front begins to make its presence felt tonight under clear skies. We'll get down to 52 degrees. A lot of sunshine Saturday. Here in the Wenatchee Valley, we're just going to have a little bit of a wind. Northwest wind, 5 to 11 miles an hour on Saturday. Again, in other locations to the north of us, Okanagan, you're going to be breezier. And out in the Columbia Basin, you're going to be dealing with some winds, not so much here, 73 tomorrow. Slight chance of some light rain as we cloud up Saturday night, 50 for the overnight low. And Sunday is going to be cloudy. quite a bit of cloud cover and below normal temperatures, high near 67 degrees. There's a slight chance of some light rain. If it happens at all, it would be in the morning. So the best chance of measurable rain, Steve, Saturday night into early Sunday morning, and then unsettled for most of next week. The high pressure ridge will be gone by then, and it'll give the opportunity for minor storm systems and fronts to pay us a visit.
Good news for the Columbia River, though, and our source of water. The Rockies are already starting to get snow.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't talk about winter.
Yeah,
Not
well,
there
Grant
yet.
Olson was showing me the weather map yesterday, and there's a lot of snow up in Alberta and British Columbia, up in the Rockies.
They can have it.
Well,
they can have all the
we'll
snow.
need it later.
Yeah, they can have it. Just keep
Inventory, as they say.
Yes,
at the
inventory, as they say. 5 minutes after the hour, we got a Friday suitcase full of news with Steve Harris. He's going to fill your head with the information you need, and it's 1 minute away. And it's brought to you by our friends at Cascade Medical. Trained with a physical therapist who loves the outdoors as much as you do. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
The physical therapists at Cascade Medical love the outdoors as much as you do. But sometimes where there's love, there's also pain. Let us help you get back to the activities that you love. Cascade Medical, partners in your health.
As the leaves change their colors, Leavenworth prepares for their fall celebration, the Autumn Leaf Festival. All weekend, your family can enjoy many activities, including dancing, live music, inflatables, and the Grand Parade Saturday at noon. Please thank our sponsors who supported this message.
Icicle Brewing Company, your beer from here. Check them out downtown on Front Street or on the web at iciclebrewing.com. Eating and drinking keeps body and soul together, an old Bavarian saying. Check us out on Front Street or on the web at munchenhouse.com.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Good morning and welcome back to the program for this Friday, the 28th day of September. We lead off our news this morning with a public health advisory. 132,000 tons of ground beef sold across the U.S. by Cargill Meat Solutions of Colorado has been recalled because it's possibly contaminated with the E. coli. If you've purchased ground beef brands Sterling Silver, XL, Classic Ground Beef, or Certified Angus Ground Beef brands from Safeway, Albertsons, or Target stores that have the establishment number EST86R and a use by and freeze date of July 11th, you're urged to dispose of that package. The U.S. Department of Agriculture issued an official list of stores where the meat was sold, and it includes Wenatchee, Chelan, Ephrata, and Moses Lake. One person has reportedly died. 17 others have become ill from eating the beef so far. Symptoms of E. coli include stomach cramps, diarrhea, and vomiting, all of which can be severe in nature. So watch out if the meat that you have in your refrigerator contains those dates and markings, then throw it away. Also, with the rainy season approaching, preparations are underway to mitigate possible impacts to watersheds within the area burned by the Cougar Creek fire. Now, that fire continues to burn and surprisingly is only 79% contained. But work has begun to identify those areas that are most vulnerable to future storm runoff and flooding. Molly Hansen heads up the U.S. Forest Service Burn Area Emergency Response Team, or BEAR, team, which recently completed their survey of the 43,000-acre fire landscape. Hansen says the survey found that 98% of the soils burned at moderate or lower intensity, which is encouraging news, she says. She discussed those findings at a public meeting in Eniat 2 nights ago.
As you can see, the majority of the fire green, or unburned or low burn severity. We have about 35% is moderate, and then about 2% of the fire is the high soil burn severity. And so with that, it doesn't translate specifically to mean that all the red is hydrophobic. There's actually more water repellent soils out there than what this map indicates, and I think that is because of the nature of the soils in general. They are generally naturally hydrophobic or water repellent. And then the fire-induced water repellency is about 18% of the fire area. So about 15% of the yellow area is hydrophobic. So we took those factors into account when we did the runoff modeling.
Hansen cautions that there are areas of higher burn intensity where they'll be focusing on emergency road and trail damage repairs.
These are the areas we really want to have people be mindful of, and just know that there's a higher risk for post-fire runoff in these drainages. So these are the smaller catchments of the Mad River system, and then Decker Canyon, Shamel Creek is off of the Eniac, Potato Creek, and Bryce Canyon's over at the end. So the big area of concern is the Windy Creek, obviously. So next. So let's describe what can you expect from a runoff event. About 35% of the total burned area will have the higher potential for these things to occur. So we'll have, with about a ½ inch of rain in an hour storm, the first storm will move a lot of ash through the system. There may be rill and gully erosion, lots of concentration of flow. There is potential for flash flooding during the thunderstorm convective cycle in the summer. And then there is a higher risk for debris flows.
Now, the model used by the Bear team measures rain events of a ½ inch of moisture per hour. Hansen said the survey results are looking favorable. She reports seeing intact plant roots and soils that are able to hold water at normal or near normal levels. In a report to commissioners on Tuesday, Port of Douglas County Executive Director Lisa Parks reported that Gigawatt, a cryptocurrency mining company who built several demo pods for Bitcoin mining near Pangbourne Airport, is apparently having financial difficulties. Gigawatt founder and CEO Dave Carlson resigned on August 15th, and within the past week, the company has laid off all but 13 of their original 70 employees. Two local electrical companies have filed liens against Gigawatt for more than $600,000. Last November, the company held a ribbon-cutting ceremony that included a 30-megawatt substation to provide power to the proposed 17 demo pods. Only one of those pods is operational, while 10 others have been built awaiting the completion of the substation by the PUD. Economic Development Manager with the port, Ron Kreidelbaugh, says Gigawatt's financial difficulties came as a surprise to port officials.
It did come as a little bit of a surprise. We had kind of had seen that they were probably having a little bit of a cash crunch. It was taking longer to get the site developed than what they had anticipated. There had been a couple of hurdles that they had to get over with getting their substation put in, and it was just something that hasn't been done before, having a private substation put in like this and operated. So I had to work through some of those processes for the first time. And so we kind of realized that they were having a little bit of a cash crunch, but did not see Dave stepping down as CEO or the layoffs really coming or how tight the cash had really gotten for them.
Meanwhile, Gigawatt has also faced several civil lawsuits from investors. The port has sent a letter of default to the company as a way to work with them out of that financial crisis, while officials at Gigawatt say the vision of bringing large-scale blockchain supercomputing to the Wenatchee Valley remains. NCW Life, by the way, tried to contact officials at Gigawatt several times yesterday, but we received no response. Wenatchee Pedestrian Pipeline Bridge will serve as a symbol of unity tomorrow as the community comes together to bring awareness to mental and substance use disorders. Now, the Hands Across the Bridge event is sponsored by Washington Recovery Alliance and the Central Washington Recovery Coalition. It includes guest speakers sharing their stories and experiences. Now, the event is being held in conjunction with National Recovery Month in September. It starts at noon tomorrow at the west entrance to the walking bridge on the south end of Worthen Street. Organizers plan to form a human chain of supporters holding hands across the bridge. Afterwards, everyone meets at Walla Walla Point Park for refreshments and a program of speakers. That part of the day starts at 2 p.m. and is free to the public. A new project in Wenatchee could be a real traffic stopper, literally. The city of Wenatchee wants to get your feedback on the future of the intersection of Washington and Buchanan Streets. You can throw King Street in there too. It's near the Chelan County Government Complex. City's Director of Community Development, Steve King, said they're considering a plan to transform that intersection into a public plaza. He talked about the project at a special pop-up event held Thursday at that location.
For a long time, because there's so much pedestrian activity between the county buildings here, and Washington Street's used as a pretty main thoroughfare, the idea is to check out to see if there's a different use for Washington Street. It could be totally closed, it could be a one-way, it could have different parking schemes, a lot of different options. The idea is just to see if there's, see where people are, where the public is, where neighborhoods are, where the county is, and if there's something that could be better here.
The five-way stop, is that a temporary thing, or is that eventually going to be permanent just right down the street?
You know, we're testing it out, and so we've got it all coned up, and it would require some sidewalk expansion. I think that there's a good chance that something will happen there. It's a pretty crazy intersection the way it was, and this, it sure looks like it would help straighten up the intersection.
Well, things are moving here in the city of Wenatchee. That little impromptu event also included like a street fair, had some vendors and arts and crafts. Dan, you were down there.
I had a cookie.
What do you think? Yeah, I saw you sneak your hand in.
Having lived in that neighborhood, I can tell you that five-way intersection is pretty cattywampus.
It is. It's very, very confusing at times.
Especially when you're coming up, I think it's Adams Street, and then you have to yield, and then you have to pull up to the next intersection. And as Steve mentioned, Washington is a major thoroughfare.
Yeah, a lot of traffic in that area.
To get you up to the west part of town, so it's I'm all for it. And a lot of pedestrians. That's the campus of Chelan County, and so there's a lot of people crossing the street, and there's just a lot of business going on there. Not to mention the library and everything else.
Yeah, I'm surprised that that a roundabout's not in the mix there.
Yeah, you never know.
I know how much people love roundabouts.
I have no problems with roundabouts because I know how to do one.
Well, I do
too. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
The news with Grant Olson comes your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. 5, 6, and 10 are your three chances to check out the news. And don't forget, Grant and Eric Grandstrom will be at Leibofta Field at the Apple Bowl tonight for the Wenatchee Panthers as they take on their rivals, the Moses Lake Chiefs. So double duty for Grant, double duty for Eric. Busy day around here. Check out the news. You can do it right here on television, or you can check it out on demand on our website. Again, we get it up and running at about 5:30 on our Facebook page at about 5:30 as well. I notice a lot of people really enjoy watching our local newscast at their own convenience.
Absolutely.
They don't have to worry about missing it on TV. They can come home, they can go ahead and start dinner and start their evening thing, and then they can just pop on ncblife.com and watch the evening news. And
like you always say, we're portable.
That's right. We're absolutely portable.
That's right.
18 minutes after the hour, what do we still have coming your way? We have sports, we have the obscure holiday, we have today in history, birthdays. Everybody's entitled to Mike Mignotti's opinion, and Bonnie Orr will be here in the second half of the program. Great way to start your weekend, wouldn't you say, with Bonnie in the house? All coming up between now and 8 o'clock on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley.
Leavenworth Oktoberfest. Fall is in the air, and so is the aroma of sizzling bratwurst. It's time once again for the Leavenworth Oktoberfest. Enjoy 3 full weekends of fun for everyone. Your thirst will be satisfied with a variety of authentic German beer, and your hunger will be filled with German brats right off the grill. The sounds of Oompa will be delivered in 4 venues with live nonstop entertainment. For information or to purchase tickets, go on to leavenworthoktoberfest.com.
I have a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
It's just so much more hands-on and friendly than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted.
We've just been grateful for the care and respect that we've been given there.
And here when I come to visit my doctor, I'm not afraid to ask questions.
It's not just about getting you in and out.
I love my care at CVCH. It's awesome. Give it a try.
And we are back at it on look at Lake Chelan, just gorgeous this morning. Lots of sunshine, 55 degrees outside of our studios, upper 70s, bountiful sunshine for everybody to get your weekend going. Let's do sports. We'll start out with a wrap from high school sports. Les Schwab scoreboard we go. Here we go. We'll do soccer. Wenatchee, big win over Eisenhower, 6-0. In fact, look at all those goose eggs. Cashmere, no problems with OMAC. Cascade, knocking off Okanagan, and Tenasket over Mansion, all on the pitch. In volleyball, Eastmont, they followed up their win over Wenatchee with a sweep in 3 games. Over Sunnyside, Moses Lake handed Wenatchee their second consecutive loss in volleyball, 3-1 there. Cascade blanked Okanagan, and Cashmere got the win at OMAC. It's homecoming week for the Eastmont Wildcats. The West Valley Rams are in town tonight at Wildcat Stadium. Our intrepid reporter, Eric Grandstrom, made his way to practice yesterday and interviewed security, also known as the Eastmont offensive line.
Well, we're here at Eastmont High School as the Wildcats celebrate homecoming, and we are with a very important part of the Eastmont offense, the O-line, and it's about time we give some love to the big fellows, so I'll have them introduce themselves. All right, guys.
I'm Tanner Nelson, I'm number 8. Alan Ortega, 75. Jack Goodmanson, 51.
Okay, go over here.
Andrew Snyder, 62.
Carson Payne, 61.
Drew Bergen, 64.
Okay, now you see the shirts, they say security here. So guys, tell me a little bit more about that.
All right, so quarterback Carson Everhart, we went around all day, walking him from period to period, protecting him. Anyone in our way, we're making sure they're staying out of the way, just protecting our quarterback just like we do on the field.
Very nice, very nice. Let's talk about what you guys have been able to accomplish so far this year. We'll forget about last week, you know, winning streaks over, that type of thing. But it's homecoming week. Are you guys ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, the loss kind of refreshed us and showed us that, you know, we have faults and we can always improve on what we're doing. And I think that coming into our homecoming week, this is definitely going to help us with our mindset and just get us ready for this big game.
Now, if you remember, we talked to Carson Talley last week, and Carson talked about his goals, his personal goals, as well as the team goals. And he said he wanted to rush for 100 yards each week. So is he taking good care of you guys?
I would say so. I think, you know, Coach Don always has goals set for us that are attainable, and we just got to do our part, and he does his part. So I think when we come together, it's something we can definitely attain.
Okay, so let's hear from each of the guys about goals for the season. I keep hearing this thing about Eastmont wants to get back to the playoffs where they haven't been for a long time. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah, obviously we want to get back to the playoffs. We want to be the best we can. We want to play to our full potential. We never want to play down anybody, and we want to show that how much skill we have and how much work we put in the off season. We want to show what we can do.
So talk about this family atmosphere that you guys have, not just with the offensive line, but it seems like with this whole team.
Yeah, I don't know, we kind of all hang out sometimes. Yeah.
Let's expand on that a little bit. Team dinners every Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you guys aren't just the football team, right? I've seen you guys had it in the cafeteria here a while back, and you guys kind of bounce around, don't you?
You know, we've had it here every week, and then this week we're on to the park.
So I know that coaches are not a big fan of homecoming week just because it's hard to get guys focused. Now, how's the focus been this week for you guys?
In the past years, people have kind of thought about more homecoming than football. It's kind of gotten in the way, but this year I haven't heard much talk about it during practice, so it's better.
Okay, so now I don't know if you can do predictions legally or not, but tell us about this game against West Valley.
Well, if everyone does their jobs and we do what we're supposed to do, then we should be good.
Okay, all right, there you go. The offensive line, it all starts up front with the big fellas. Do you do any kind of cheer? What do you do? Do you do something? No.
Bring it up. Yeah, bring it up. Break it down.
Okay, all right, so let's bring it up. Okay, bring it up, guys. And then what do we say? All right.
O-line on 3.
O-line on 3. Okay, we're doing O-line on 3. Ready?
O-line on 3. 1, 2, 3.
O-line! There we go. There you go. The big offensive line for the Eastmont Wildcats here on the NCW Live channel.
The big news for Eastmont is that they're going to be starting their backup quarterback, Carson Everhart. Coach Michael Don says that gives Kalen Massey, when he moves out to wingback, a little more offensive firepower for the Wildcats.
He's done some good things, and really, we think Kalen's going to help us in other spots too. Kalen's going to get the start at wing for us, and he's just added an element of explosion to our offense out there. He can catch the ball, he can run the ball. You're going to see some special things out of him this week still.
West Valley Rams, Eastmont Wildcats, 7 o'clock kickoff at Wildcat Stadium. The game we got tonight, right here on the NCW Live channel, the Panthers and the Chiefs from Moses Lake meeting for the 66th time. Coach Scott Devereaux says he'd like to snap Wenatchee's 3-game losing streak to the Chiefs, and it starts on defense.
We need to limit their running game. So much of what they do is based on that inside run, so we need to stop that and then win first down, get them in second long, because then we kind of know what's coming. And offensively, we need to execute up front, and just keep improving.
Panthers are coming off back-to-back shutouts in their last 2 opponents. Senior starting linebacker Amon Haugen says he's expecting Moses Lake to try and trick the Panthers.
Well, they run a lot of option, speed option and zone option, so
That's our key, mostly for defense.
Tell me about that for those that don't play football, don't know what they're looking for. What are you zoning in on? What are your keys when you're looking at that option offense when you're playing linebacker?
Yeah, for linebacker, it's the running back first and then the quarterback. But they're trying to trap our DNs, and then the quarterback will either hand it off or run it if whatever the DN does, depending on that.
We'll have a lot more with Coach Devereaux and Amon tonight during the pregame show. Eric and Grant Olson on the call. We start the broadcast at 6:45, leave off the field at the Apple Bowl. Kickoff at 7 o'clock live right here on the NCB Live channel. Let's go to the prep schedule. Under the lights, go watch the kids play some football. Cascade is on the road at Cheney. Chelan hosts Okanagan. Cashmere's at OMAC. Caribou Trail League play there. The B schedule has Manson at Tenasket. Waterville Mansfield celebrates homecoming with Pateris in town. That's tonight. Saturday, soccer, Wapato hosts Chelan at 1 o'clock, and Manson will take on OMAC at 2. In volleyball over the weekend, Waterville Mansfield is at the Quincy Invite. Cascade, Chelan, and Wenatchee, they're all going to be in Spokane at Ferris High School for the Linda Sheridan Volleyball Classic. Manson will host Wilson Creek at noon. The Wenatchee cross-country team is in Portland. It's the Portland Christian Invite. This is a huge meet. Eastmont is at Franklin Pierce High School for the Sunfair Invite. And in prep swimming and diving, everybody into the pool. Eastmont and Wenatchee are at the Kaimak Invite tomorrow morning starting at 9 a.m. Wenatchee Wild continue their swing through British Columbia tonight and tomorrow. They're in Vernon. They'll take on the Vipers tonight at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow they'll be in Trail to take on the Smoke Eaters again at 7 o'clock. On the college football slate this weekend, let me tell you about the football. Eastern Washington hosts Montana State. Big Sky football there at noon. Utah is in Pullman to take on the Cougars. That game is at 3 o'clock. It'll be on the Pac-12 network. At 5:30 on Fox, it's the Huskies hosting Brigham Young. And at 6 o'clock, under the lights for the first time ever, after a $6 million renovation at Tomlinson Field in Ellensburg. That means artificial turf and lights. Central will be hosting West Texas Agriculture and Mining. Seahawks in the desert, Glendale, Arizona to be exact. They take on the Arizona Cardinals Sunday. University of Phoenix Stadium, kickoff on Fox, 105. And finally, despite a great outing, probably the best outing of the season by Marco Gonzalez, the Mariners, well, they fell sleepless in Seattle, a 3-0 loss to the Texas Rangers. Gonzalez allowed just 2 hits in 5 innings at shutout ball, 6 strikeouts. Seattle offense can only muster 3 hits off Ariel Harando and 3 relievers. Seattle and Texas play again tonight at 7:10. Martin Perez faces the Mariners' Wade LeBlanc. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. It's 28 minutes after the hour. Let's do the obscure holiday of the day today. And today is Good Neighbor Day. Be a good neighbor. Part of your social life is to be a good neighbor, whether you're at home or at work. I mean, when you work, you have neighbors. If you work in an office or cubicles or whatever, be nice to your neighbors, even if you don't like them. Who knows? It might come in handy. So, and if you don't know your neighbors well, it's a good chance to go out and meet your neighbor. Peek over the fence and say, "Hi, neighbor. How are you doing today?" Make some goodies. Maybe have a neighborhood block party. Being a good neighbor is important, I mean, you say, "Hey, I think there's something weird going on. Somebody's trying to get into your house." It's important to have a good neighbor, and it's important to be a good neighbor. The word neighbor comes from the Old English word nabahar. Na meant near, and gerber meant inhabitant. So they put the two together, and it became neighbor. Be a good neighbor today. Always celebrated on the 28th day of September. Let's do today in history. September 28th, 1924, 94 years ago today, the very first round-the-world flight was completed. They took off from Seattle. They landed in Seattle. 4 planes following each other. 3 of them made it all the way around the world. It took 175 days to do it, and they covered 27,553 miles. How did they do it? Way back in 1924, it's simple. They put, each individual stop all the way around the globe, they put a cache of food and fuel and spare parts and extra airplane parts so they could land, fix the plane, take off, and that's how they did it. That's why it also took 175 days to do it, but they did it, and they finished it 94 years ago today. September 28th, 1928, it was just an accident. Somebody left a petri dish by an open window in the laboratory overnight. It wasn't supposed to happen. And Sir Alexander Fleming got back to work the next day and looked at this petri dish on the windowsill and, "What's that? Something's growing on it. Wait a minute, I think I just discovered penicillin." Well, he didn't say that. I did. Penicillin, what would eventually be recognized as penicillin, was discovered completely by accident on this date 90 years ago, and it changed medical science forever. September 28th, 1936, 82 years ago today, there's the box score between the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox. This is an NFL game, not a baseball game. The entire game was played without a penalty called on either team. It's only happened 4 times. The last time it happened was in 1940. The first time it happened was on this date in 1936. Can you believe that? Would you believe that today? An entire football game being played with no penalties on either side happened on this date 82 years ago today. And this is the 50th anniversary of the day that Hey Jude went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, a song written by Paul McCartney, wrote about John Lennon's son Julian. John and his wife Cynthia were going through a divorce. It was a tough time in the Lennon household. Paul wanted to make Julian feel better, wrote a song called Hey Jude. It became an all-time classic, went to #1 and stayed at #1 for 9 weeks. The biggest selling song of 1968 hit the top of the charts 50 years ago today. And finally, we got some birthdays to get to, including Confucius, the Chinese teacher, editor, politician, philosopher. Do not do to others what you would not want done to yourself. That's about as simple as it gets. The golden rule came up with Confucius and a bunch of other stuff as well. Confucius, born in 551 BC. That's why we don't have a photo of him. Lived a long time, lived to the age of 71. Back in those days, that's pretty darn impressive. Happy birthday, Confucius. Thomas Crapper was born on this date in 1836. The plumber, he was English, did not invent the toilet. He did not invent the flush toilet. That's the urban legend. Thomas Crapper invented the flush toilet. He did not. But he invented the ball cock. The ball cock is that thing in your toilet that goes up and down and it raises, so the plumbing knows when to stop filling up the tank. He invented the ball cock, but not the toilet. And it just gave me a chance to say ball cock on television. Thomas Crapper, born in this state in 1836. Ed Sullivan couldn't sing, couldn't dance, couldn't tell jokes, couldn't play a musical instrument, had no discernible talent whatsoever, but he certainly knew people who did. The host of The Ed Sullivan Show from 1948 to 1971, Ed Sullivan was born in the state in 1901, died at the age of 73 in 1974. A really big shoe. Peter Finch, the English actor, was born in the state in 1916. Of course, he played Howard Beale. What an iconic role in the movie Network. Won the Academy Award for Best Actor, the very first posthumous Academy Award winner ever, because he died about 3 weeks before the Academy Awards of 1977. Peter Finch, born in 1916. Steve Largent, Football Hall of Famer, maybe the most famous Seahawk of all time. I think he has a claim to that. He held all kinds of records when he retired from the National Football League. Of course, then he served in Congress for a while. Steve Largent, Seahawk legend, is 63 years old today. Speaking of football, check this out. Eric got this yesterday when he was over at Eastmont High School.
Happy birthday, dear Dylan. Happy birthday to you.
That's cool. Happy birthday, Dylan Esparza. That's a neat little thing. I don't know how old Dylan is, but that's cool. And finally, Captain M. Tucker Wagner. There he is. Tucker Wagner, one of our top people here at the NCW Life Channel. There he is. Tucker. We don't have a photo of him. He looks a lot like Alfred E. Newman, though. Tucker Wagner, the good captain, is 22 years old today. Don't forget, if you know a local celebrity who's celebrating a local birthday, did that make sense? You can get a hold of us by going to our website, or you can go to our Facebook page, whatever it takes. Just see if you can get your local celebrity's birthday to me, and I'll do my very best to get it on the television. Or, as we like to say in the business, TV. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion, and buckle your seatbelts. Bonnie Orr is in the house. The master gardener herself. Still to come between now and 8 o'clock. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Live this morning from Studio 9 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. Just as the cool mornings and evenings are returning to our valley, Carrier and Alpine Air are offering best-in-class rebates and promotions to keep your home comfortable and safe this winter. Call for your free estimate today. Ask about rebates to $1,650 and low interest, low payment financing. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call 662-6846. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing Honey Blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Yippee Skippy and Yahoo Wenatchee Valley, Collins Fashions launches our buy one red tag clothing item and get the next red tag clothing item free. That's right, free. Awesome selection of tanks, tees, capris, ankle pants, dresses, etc. Quality brands like Not Your Daughter's Jeans, Jag, French Dressing, Joseph Ribkoff, Tommy Bahama, and many more. Selected sale on Brighton and Lotus handbags and wallets. Sandals from Soft, Nicole on sale as well. Awesome sale, awesome service at Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Only one country could build a truck like this. Designed in California, engineered in Michigan, tested in Arizona, and assembled in Mississippi. Powered by Cummins of Indiana. The all-new Nissan Titan. It's an American classic. Is it on your list? Come down and see us at Town Nissan behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by Local-Tel. Hands Across the Bridge is this Saturday from noon to 5:30 at the Walking Bridge in Walla Walla Point Park for National Recovery Month. Speakers and food will be in the park after. Saturday and Sunday is the Autumn Leaf Festival and Parade in downtown Leavenworth. Bring the family to this free event celebrating the turning colors. For more information and other community events, visit ncwlife.com.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, I was having a conversation the other day with someone about race issues. And this person that was telling me that as me being part of the dominant culture, I couldn't understand what it was like to be discriminated against. Well, I agree. I personally can't claim to ever been a victim of this discrimination. My parents, even though they were white people, they certainly could. As a child, my mother was a German enemy alien during World War II, growing up in a Russian neighborhood in Singac, New Jersey. And my father, in the Newark area, he was the son of an alcoholic Italian immigrant in the days when political correctness didn't exist. Now, I'm not saying this is the same as what other minority races have experienced in this country over the years, but discrimination is not an issue only based on race. It's not. So this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
NCW Life Channel is proud to present the Spotlight on Business. We're going behind the scenes to bring you the story of local businesses throughout North Central Washington. How did they get started, and why are they so successful? We'll answer these and other questions each week with Spotlight on Business, Sundays through Fridays on the NCW Life Channel.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by Local-Tel. The annual Dahlia Show is this Saturday and Sunday at Pybus Market. Come see the state's best collection of dahlias at this free event. Also at Pybus is Sage's Child Advocacy Center When I Grow Up 5K Fun Run and Walk. It's happening on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. For more information and other community events, visit ncwlife.com.
This is State Representative Kerry Condata inviting you to watch our new and improved 12th District 2.0 show. Now featuring more information on federal, state, and local issues in a leaner, faster format. Guest hosts John Wise and Shiloh Shower bring it all home with yours truly, Kerry Condata. Why do we call it 2.0? Because just like me, it's the stronger, faster, and lighter version of today's politics. Also available on demand at ncwlife.com.
As the leaves change their colors, Leavenworth prepares for their fall celebration, the Autumn Leaf Festival. All weekend, your family can enjoy many activities, including dancing, live music, inflatables, and the Grand Parade Saturday at noon. Please thank our sponsors who supported this message.
Praise Fruit Barn offers a wide variety of fresh fruit and vegetables, from sweet, crisp apples to tree-ripened Asian pears. Your party is the place to be with a sensational cheese tray from the Cheesemonger with cheese from around the world.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. My guest today is very familiar to viewers on this television station and on this television program. She's been on this show a whole bunch of times. She is the host of Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees, which airs weekly right here on the NCB Life channel. She's also a WSU Master Gardener, and she's got a lot on her plate, but she decided to put aside a little time to come visit us. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody loves Bonnie Orr. Hi.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so good to see you. I miss you. I haven't seen you a lot lately.
No, we don't see each other as often as we used to.
I know.
But I mean, we're busy. I mean, people love our show.
I know.
Yeah, isn't it
I know.
just great?
It's all Bonnie.
We have so much fun.
It's all Bonnie. I learned so much from you on this show because I went in with a blank slate on Green Thumbs and Dirty Knees. All I know is I went to Bonnie about 3 years ago and I said, we're starting up this little television station with just a bunch of scrappy guys trying to see if we can put it together. You want to do a show? And Bonnie said, no, of course not. And we have a lot of fun is what we do.
Yeah.
And I had gardening is fun.
It is.
It's fun. It's a good time, especially when you're doing it with Bonnie. Your huge weekend going on. The WSU Master Gardener Conference is back here in the big city for the first time in 18 years.
Uh-huh.
This is huge. Talk about this event.
Well, you know what is really interesting is that there are 4,000 Master Gardeners in the state of Washington.
That's a lot.
And they volunteer 310,000 hours a year. Isn't that just amazing?
That's a lot of hours.
It is really a lot of hours. And in fact, we have a whole group of people who are going to be acknowledged for putting in more than 500 hours last year, in 1 year. Okay? It is really volunteer, super interesting people doing really fun projects all over the state. And 400 of them are here in Wenatchee. It's our biggest conference that we've ever had. And it's just too much fun to see all these people.
Logistically, you've been at this for about a year and a half, right?
About 18 months. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once we'd landed it, say it's coming to Wenatchee the last weekend in September, you kids all got together and said, let's do a show.
And Deborah Benbow, who is the chair, this woman is a magic woman and has done everything that can possibly be done. We couldn't do it without her.
Well, we went down to the basement or the lower level of the Wenatchee Convention Center on Wednesday to shoot some footage as you kids were getting ready. And we're going to show that footage as you talk about what exactly is going on at the convention center.
Okay, so here are we have a bunch of vendors, and we have a thing called a marketplace, and the public is invited to come in and shop for Christmas.
Great idea.
And it's just the neatest things that people have to sell and to buy. There's also a raffle, and you can actually get a raffle number. We have extra raffle numbers that we can give to people, and they can do the raffle. This is the very beginnings of it, because the whole thing is totally filled now with books and clothing and gardening tools and garden books and decorations for the garden, and oh my goodness, it's really a fun place. Yeah, this is very early on.
And we need to tell people, this was on Wednesday, and it's been in full swing since yesterday. We need to tell people this is open. You don't have to be a Master Gardener to show up to this.
No.
All you got to do is pay admission and have at it.
Right. So. And we're going to have some really notable people today and tomorrow. I mean, we have professors from the university who come in and talk with us, and then we also have lots of other experts. Okay, it's all science-based information.
My guess is with 400 Master Gardeners in town, that's going to be
This is the photo contest that would. Yeah,
there's that too.
Yeah, there was a photo contest.
I'm assuming this is a pretty big boom to the local economy having all these people in town.
I would hope so. I would hope so. And Omi Gardens gave us a reception for yesterday morning. Everybody went up there, it's just been really.
I noticed Highgate Senior Living is heavily involved in this. They're like one of the main sponsors.
Yes, one of our major sponsors.
Good for them.
Yes.
Good for them. And then the keynote speaker, and you landed a big dude. I mean, this guy is important.
This man is so much fun. Okay, he is talking about revitalizing gardens and the art in the gardens. And he redid the Chicago Botanic Gardens. He originally worked for the New York Botanic Gardens, and now he is in charge of all the Disneyland properties.
That's a big gig.
Oh, I mean, and he's not going to talk about Disneyland. Unfortunately, there are no more spaces available for his talk tonight, because it was based on meals, and we had to turn in the meal count.
I understand
Yeah,
completely.
yeah.
But that's quite the coup to land that guy.
Indeed.
It
Indeed,
really is.
yeah.
So again, it goes on. It's been going on for the next couple of days. The hours where people want to go up and buy some unique gifts that you're not going to find anyplace else. When can people drop by? Just general public pay their admission to go in.
Yeah, 8 o'clock till tonight till till dinner time, 6 o'clock, and then tomorrow from 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like. What's it like when you get 400 master gardeners together in a room?
Well, they're all talking about the best thing they grew or wanting, and we're going to have a knowledge bowl. Okay, we're going to have a Jeopardy contest today at 1 o'clock between a team from Yakima and a team from Pierce County. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Let's recap the summer there was in the world of gardening.
My goodness, we did have an interesting summer. Yeah. Windy. The wind never stopped.
Yeah.
And and it was hot consistently longer, but not like we didn't have. Did we reach 100?
I don't think so.
See, that's our second year in a row, third year in a row that we haven't made 100.
And bone dry.
And bone dry.
Yeah.
And the smoke. But you know, there were some really interesting things about the smoke, besides the fact that it was not safe to go out and garden some days. But the particulate that fell from the smoke actually enriched all of our soils.
Really?
Yeah, so with micronutrients.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
truly.
it kind of what happened with Mount St. Helens when it erupted and dumped
Yes,
ash, and then 2 years later everybody's crops went crazy, that kind of deal? Okay, so there are some advantages to it.
And we look on the sunny side.
What particular crop, be it a fruit or vegetable or whatever, or plant, did exceptionally well this year for any particular reason?
Well, you know, I've been hearing mixed. I work in the diagnostic clinic, and I hear mixed things. We've had very few stink bugs this year, so it's been a low stink bug year, and not very many problems, you know, with insects. But tomatoes were uneven. Some people had fabulous tomatoes, and some people had pokey tomatoes. So I haven't heard anything that people just said, "Whew, it was just a great crop." Yeah.
Nothing really stood out.
No.
So, what is the smoke going to affect the taste of anything?
No, but you know, the thing is that if you were in an area with really heavy particulate smoke, and if we don't get rain pretty soon, you may want to wash off your shrubs, because it does interfere with the photosynthesis.
Okay.
A bit, you know.
And one of the great myths and misconceptions about, okay, well, summer's over, we're into autumn, so the gardening season is over. That is so wrong, isn't it?
What it is the irrigation water goes off at the beginning of October. So everybody thinks gardening has stopped. But last year we did not have a killing frost until Thanksgiving. Okay, well, we've had little bits of frost. You know, I always plant a fall garden.
Yes, you do.
And I'm harvesting peas right now and radishes, and I have beets and carrots growing. But you can pretty much grow things with mulch, you know, all year round, which is really odd. My Brussels sprouts are doing just great, all my fall things. And so I don't think we really want to stop gardening until we get that first frost. The beans are starting to pout. The melons are finished, the cucumbers are that, but that has to do with light. More so than the temperatures, but these nights we've had in the 40s will slow things down.
And of course, you still have your squash and a few other things.
That's
that are
right.
Still going.
That's right. And you want to make sure that when you harvest your winter squash, that you leave the stem on, so that there's no opening for rot to get in.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can cut them off when they.
As far as planting things, what
Oh,
needs
my
to go
goodness.
into the ground now?
Well, most people are trying to plant. You know, this is the end of September. And since we've been having these really late frosts the last couple of years, I think you can still plant shrubs and trees. You can plant until the ground gets to be 40, okay? And because the roots can still grow until the ground gets 40.
And it's terribly important to remember that this is actually, well, we might be close to past to it. We still have maybe a few weeks left to plant your trees and shrubs, because it doesn't have to compete with water and heat and everything. They can establish themselves much better in the autumn than they can in the spring or the summer.
It is our best time to plant, starting around September 15th.
And of course, where you plant is critical, because the trees are going to grow. And
They are.
We did a couple of episodes on that where, boy, it was a great idea to plant the tree here at the time.
Yeah,
but
wrong
wish
tree
I
in
hadn't
the wrong
done it.
place.
Yeah. So.
And but planting, people want to plant bulbs. All the stores have bulbs right now, and people don't plant bulbs correctly, and then they don't persist, and then people go, "What happened to my bulbs?" you know, like a daffodil bulb or a tulip bulb has to be 6 inches deep. And a 6-inch hole is a deep hole, and it's too much work sometimes for people to want to do that. And I always suggest that you plant a little grape hyacinth bulb with your cluster of tulips or daffodils, so you know where they are. In the spring, you don't dig into them
Right.
and break them up, you know. And people always want to naturalize bulbs, you know, crocus, cilia, and those things. And they plant them in the lawn, and then, of course, it doesn't succeed because people water their lawns, and it rots the bulbs. So you can't, it has to be in an area that doesn't get, you know, an inch and a half of
when you
water
say
a
6
week.
inches, and that's been the #1 mistake most people make when they plant their bulbs, they don't dig the hole deep enough.
Right.
And then that leads to all kinds of
And
problems.
you don't have to put bone meal in the bottom or anything else, because that can actually burn the roots as they are starting.
Is 6 inches the minimum? Can you go to 8 or 10?
Well, it depends on the size of the bulb.
Okay.
And it will tell you on the package. Reading instructions. I mean, it is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it seems silly, but if they come with instructions, plant it this way at this time and do this to it, and you'll be fine. And a lot of people don't pay any attention to it.
Right.
They just dig a hole and chuck it in and say, see you in March. And it doesn't necessarily work that way. Now, there are those people who are done. Their gardening season is over for the most part. What do they need to be doing now to put their garden to bed so come spring they're ready to go?
Okay, well, it's still too. Roses are in their last flush. Roses are lasting longer and longer. If you are going to prune roses, you wait until the first hard frost, and you cut them to knee high, merely to prevent the canes from breaking in the wind and the snow. Okay, so it's a little early yet for that. And many people want to make their yard tidy, and they make the mistake of pruning their flowering shrubs, you know, like their forsythia or their lilac or something, because it's gotten a little rangy. They are cutting off next year's flowers. The time to prune flowering shrubs is June, after they have finished blooming. Just to keep that in mind.
Okay.
You know, I mean, tidy is next to godliness, but I'm not sure. And it's time to, believe it or not, to stash leaves. And this is very important for people who want to compost or want to improve their soil. People are always asking the master gardeners, where do I buy compost? There is no true, really broken down compost that doesn't have a lot of wood mixed in with it that's available in our area. So you make your own compost, and you actually can trench the leaves into your garden, but you also can just stash them, and so that during the summer, you just put them in a wire cage, cover it with plastic, and you have a source for making compost all year long.
Let's talk about lawn. As you mentioned before, the ditches, we have 2 main supplies of irrigation in the north central Washington area. They'll be shutting down here over the next couple of weeks. What do you want to do so your lawn has a head start come spring to
you know,
do it
I'm
right?
not
do
so
it the
sure
right
about
way?
your lawns. Here's the thing I'm concerned about with the irrigation water being shut off. That is that, you know, it was really dry. I think in October we had the driest October last year than we'd ever had.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, it doesn't look good for us for the long range forecast for having a lot of rain. And you want to have a water soil profile of about 8 or 10 inches, because remember, all of the shrubs and trees, the majority of roots are within the top 1 foot of the soil. So you want to have your soil moist, not soggy, but moist for plants to get through October, November until the rains start.
And you don't want to cut your lawn really short. No, you want it a little on the hairy side, right?
Yes, you do. You know, I mean,
I know people don't like it because it cosmetically doesn't look good, but it's better for your yard.
Okay, yes, and there's a fine line there. Okay, so like if it's 3.5 inches, it's too long because it flops over, and that can promote snow mold. And you know, there's a lot of controversy about the fall fertilizers. Fall fertilizers can contribute to snow mold. And most of the time, the ground is cooler and the temperatures are cooler, and so the plants are actually becoming dormant, and they are not pulling up the fertilizer, and so it can stay in the soil and many times wash into the groundwater. So, you know, if it's not going to make your lawn greener sooner. If you wait until March when the soil has warmed above 40, then fertilizing, ta-da, yeah.
I play a lot of golf, and all the local golf
No.
courses are aerating the golf courses right now. They're punching the holes in the fairways and the greens, and they do it every year at this time of the year. Why? What's the purpose behind
there's
that?
aeration and thatching. Those are the two things that people do in the fall. The reason that you aerate is that you are trying to make room for new roots to grow, believe it or not, okay? Because the stuff falls back in, and then the roots can spread into an area that's been open. And thatching removes all the dead roots and stems that are in the top part of the soil. And if you have more than about 1.5 inches or 2 inches of thatch, this is a time of the year to do it. You know, the thing is that thatch and aeration are necessary for lawns that are heavily fertilized and heavily irrigated. And moderate fertilizer and moderate irrigation prevents you from having lots of problems with your turf at home.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
I mean, there's a big difference. You know, something that's really interesting is this year especially, we've had a number of people come into the clinic and go, "What's wrong with my lawn? There's this weird grass growing in it, and it looks weird." It's bent grass, and I
think I have that.
They use bent grass in golf courses because it lies flat and it's really easy to groom. Well, it sticks to your shoes, it sticks to your clubs, to the bottom of your case, everything.
And then you bring it into somebody else's yard. You go into a picnic at Joe's house, and you're introducing. You don't want to.
Or if you're just sort of putting in your backyard. Right. Okay, and so people just laugh at me because they come in with this, and I go, "Are you a golfer?" And they go, "How did you know?" but that grass gets introduced into lawns.
So leaves, weeding. What have we forgotten? Did we miss anything? Bonnie brought notes because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Sanitizing.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so if you had mildew on your roses or your peonies this year, one of the things that you want to do is you want to pick up you could cut those leaves off right now, okay? And put them in the trash. Don't compost them, because you want all those mildew spores not to fall to the ground. Linda Chalker-Scott, who's one of the experts from WSU, a fabulously interesting scientist, is going to be our speaker tomorrow, tomorrow, Saturday. And she suggested using coffee grounds, okay? 1.5 inches of coffee grounds underneath like peonies to try to prevent the mildew spores from moving from the ground onto the leaves, because they come from the ground. That's where the mildew spores do. And I tried it this year, and it worked.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I got one more question because we're running out of time. The National Weather Service is predicting about a 70% chance of an El Nino this year. An El Nino year meaning we will have a milder, meaning warmer and drier winter. That's what they're predicting.
No snow.
Well, very little snow and warmer than normal temperatures. What is that from a gardening standpoint? What does that do to your garden over the winter if that's in fact pans out?
It means that if you've planted new trees and shrubs, you're going to have to do supplemental watering for them to survive. You won't have to mulch as deeply so I can go out there and harvest those carrots in February, and I won't have to have as much mulch down. My fig tree will be happy. A milder winter means that plants that are almost out of range will have a happier time.
What we really need is rain. We almost set a record. We went 86 days without measurable precipitation from the middle of June till just a couple of days ago. That's a long time without rain.
Yeah.
A long time. And that's nature's fertilizer.
Well, yes, because it brings nitrogen down.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know, we can do nothing about it. Yeah. So people who complain about the weather just drive me crazy, because I'm just going, what you do is if it didn't survive, don't replant it.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Some people just talk about the weather, but we really talk about the weather.
Well, that's because my dad was a meteorologist, remember?
The Master Gardeners State Conference is in the big city, and this is a rare treat. It hasn't been here for 18 years. Go to the Wenatchee Convention Center this weekend, fork over your bucks, check it out, buy some cool stuff. Bonnie,
for Christmas,
For Christmas. I'd love seeing you. All right?
Okay,
Be good. Everybody be good. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.